to Susmita's voice. The book that saved the world is today's story. Story in a nutshell. The book that saved the earth is a story that revolves around a book of nursery rhyme titled The Mother Goose, that has been picturized as the book that saved the earth from an alien attack. The story begins with a historian that describes to the audience that how one day in the 20th century Martians planned to attack the earth. A crew of their lands in a library on earth. They tried to find out the meaning of the content of the book, which they mistook as a sandwich. There they came across a rhyme on Humpty Dumpty, which resembles their master Think Tank. They all get terrified with the idea of their master losing control over Mars because of humans and cancel their plans of invading Earth. About the author. Claire Boyko is a famous author of children's books. She excelled in the period plays. Her main works include plays and programs for boys and girls, The Crybaby Princess, dramatized parodies of familiar stories, and the children plays for creative actors. Plot of the story. The play is set in the 25th century, but historians turns on the hysteroscope back. He shows a very important historical event that took place in the 20th century. So all the actions in the play and characters are set in 20th century. The play, the book that saved the earth, describes a great historical event of 2040. It was the Martians' invasion on the planet Earth. However, that invasion was averted. Surprisingly, an old book of rhymes, Mother Goose, was able to avert that disaster, and it saved the world from Martian invasions. Great and mighty Think Tank was the commander-in-chief and the ruler of Mars. He behaved like a despot. He relished being praised and flattered by all who were under him. He was called the most powerful and the most intelligent creature in the whole universe. He was feared and obeyed. No one dared to disagree or argue with him. Disobedience of great and mighty Think Tank was unimaginable. He ordered apprentice Noodle to make him talk to their manned space probe to the planet Earth. He looked into his magical mirror and felt satisfied. He declared that Martians are a handsome race in comparison to the ugly Earthlings. Captain Omega informed that they have arrived on Earth without any trouble. They have taken shelter in a square place. Omega wants to know the exact location. Iota can't tell it. She looked and she holded a book. There were 2,000 books stored in a library. Martians have never seen such books in their lives, so they made wild guesses about the books. Great and mighty Think Tank makes a ridiculous guess about the books and he identifies them as sandwiches. Think Tank identifies that those particular items are nothing but sandwiches, which are staple diet of the Earthlings. He identifies the library as a store of hay. To confirm his theory that those books are actually sandwiches, he asks Captain Omega to eat one of them. At last, Oop bites down on a corner of the book. He doesn't find it delicious. Noodle intervenes and saves the situation. He tells that he has noticed through films that the Earthlings don't eat those sandwiches. They are actually communication devices. Think Tank orders Omega to listen to them. Omega takes a book and brings it close to his ears. But he hears nothing. Noodle again saves the situation. He discloses that the Earthlings don't listen to sandwiches, but they open and watch them. Think Tank gives his judgment. He declares that those sandwiches are not for ear communication, they are for eye communication. He orders Captain Omega to observe a large colorful sandwich and tell what he has observed. Oop sees thousands of little lines and dots alongside the pictures on them. Think Tank feels that the Earthlings are not as primitive as they have thought. He orders to find out the real meaning of the code language. Clever Noodle manages the situation. He suggests that their space people should be given vitamins to increase their intelligence. Vitamins are brought and everyone's pops the vitamins into their mouth. Omega reads the rhyme of Mystery Mary. Think Tank interprets the rhymes. He declares that the Earthlings have discovered how to combine agriculture with mining. They can actually grow crops of rare metals such as silver. He interprets that cockle shells are actually explosives and the Earthlings can also grow high explosives. Then Iota reads the Hey Diddle. Think Tank finds this rhyme more alarming. The Earthlings have reached to a high level of civilization. They have taught their domestic animals music, culture, and space techniques. They may be launching an interplanetary attack on million cows soon. Up shows Think Tank a picture of Humpty Dumpty. He looks like Think Tank. Think Tank suddenly screams. He declares that the Earthlings have seen him. They are after him. They plan to capture Mars' central control and him. He orders Noodle to prepare a space capsule for him. Think Tank orders the space people to leave Earth at once. He tells Omega that they will go 100 million miles away from Mars. He even orders the invasion fleet to evacuate the entire planet of Mars. Historians chuckles that how one dusty old book of nursery rhymes, Mother Goose, saves the world from the Martian invasion. Historian also informs that the wise and wonderful Noodle replaces great and mighty Think Tank. Friendly relations are resumed because between the Earthlings and the Martians. The people of Earth teach Martians the differences between sandwiches and the books. Theme of the story. The play, The Book That Saved the Earth, is based on the theme that half-fed knowledge is always dangerous. It also tells how an old thing or an old book of rhymes, Mother Goose, saved the world from Martian invasion. The play is set in the 25th century, but historians turn on the hysteroscope and brings us back to the 20th century, 5 centuries back. The play begins with great and mighty Think Tank with the people of Mars Central Control. Think Tank is the commander-in-chief and the rulers of Mars. He is praised and flattered as the most intelligent and most powerful creature in the whole universe. But Think Tank gives ridiculous and fantastic interpretations of books. He calls them sandwiches. His misinterpretations of the rhymes of Mother Goose belies all the tall claims. He is nothing more than an ignorant and haughty despot who realizes nothing but pure and simple flattery and sycophancy. In the end, Think Tank stops the invasion on Earth and orders the complete evacuation of Mars. Character sketch. Think Tank. The Think Tank may be a living being from Mars who incorporates a large and oval head. He wears a protracted gown embellished with stars and circles. He considers himself to be the foremost powerful and intelligent creature within the whole universe. He thinks himself to be the ruler of Mars and commands the Mars area. He is the leader of a crew that has Captain Omega, Lieutenant Lotta, and Sergeant Oak, and apprentice Noodle. He likes to be praised owing to his intelligence and authority. As he is from Mars, he considers books as communication sandwiches. He smacks his mirror because it delays in complimenting him. He boasts of his intelligence and power, however, decides to evacuate his planet and escapes as shortly as he gets to understand that the folks from Earth had planned to make and take management in the Mars. Justification of the title. Martians planned to attack on Earth. The rulers of Mars Think Tank instructed one of his Martian Noodle to gather information about Earth. He saw that other three crew members, Captain Omega, Lieutenant Iota, and Sergeant Opp, found some books in Centerville Public Library. A book named Mother Goose contained nursery rhymes. Omega managed to read some nursery rhymes like Mistress Mary, Humpty Dumpty, etc. Think Tank misinterpreted the rhymes and was shocked to discover that metals could be grown in field. He also thought that Earthlings were intelligent enough to warfare and had advanced technology to grow high exposures. On seeing the image of Humpty Dumpty, he thought it its head resembling that of his own. He feared invasion on Mars by Earthlings, so he decided to migrate to Alpha Centauri, 100 million miles away from Mars. The Martians feared the book till date. Hence, we can say that the book title, The Book That Saved the Earth, is very appropriate. Blogger's question: would you love to go to Mars? Which planet would you prefer to destroy after Earth? Think about the questions and then think about the answers. And please comment in the comment section below.